Good evening, everyone. Thank you again. Thank you for joining in on time. We are just about to start. We're just waiting for a minute or so that more participants can join in. And we're just ready to, we are all set to start the session. Good evening, everyone. All right. Great. So I guess we are good to go. And again, one more time, thank you so much for joining us today for this informative webinar on CUET. My name is Tanishta Parashar, and we are very much excited to guide you through this essential topic. Now, when we talk about CUET, it is a very significant examinations for students who are aspiring to secure admissions in various undergraduate programs across central universities in India. It plays a very important role in determining the academic future of many students, and definitely it's a gateway to some of the most prestigious institutes in India. So today we are here, and our goal is to provide you with a very comprehensive understanding of about what CUET is. And for that, we have our CUET expert, Mrs. Somya Kapoor. So I'll just take a minute to introduce her to all of you. So Soumya ma'am is a senior career coach at Mindler, pursuing her passion in the education technology domain as has a she has already coached 50,000 students to develop their career roadmap. A psychologist by education with masters and bachelors in psychology from the University of Delhi. She has extensively worked on research projects at Indian School of Business, Hyderabad, and IIT Delhi. We welcome you, ma'am, and thank you so much for taking up this session today for all of us. With this, participants, all the questions that you have, we have the chat box. We also have the Q&A section. So please make sure that all the doubts, all the confusion that you have regarding this particular topic, you drop in your questions there. We have Miss Ishika Saxena with us. She's a career coach at Mindler, and she'll be taking up all the questions there. She'll be answering all your questions. And with that, I'll also be there. I'll be also answering some of the questions. So with this, I guess we are ready to start. And over to you, Soumya ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Tanishta, for the loveliest introduction. And thank you so much, Ishika. And thank you so much, dear participants, for joining in exactly on time. All right. So as Tanishta introduced the topic, we are going to be discussing a lot about CUET. So as Tanishta introduced, I want to quickly tell you about Mindler also before we start. So we are a company, dear participants, dear students, parents, coaches who've joined in here. So to quickly introduce Mindler, so we are a company and we are into career guidance. So basically, if you have any career related queries. So it could be CUET or beyond CUET. If you need any support in terms of courses, universities, how you want to plan your career path further, our team is there to help you throughout your journey. And we have had students going into the top universities in India and abroad. So we'll be more than happy to help each one of you. I'm very, very excited to interact with you till 7 p.m. today. So we'll have a huge and in-depth interaction about CUET for the coming 1 hour. So, dear participants, if you could just quickly introduce yourselves in the chat in the sense that are you a grade 12 student or which class of the student are you studying in if you've joined in here? So, all the students, can you just quickly type in the chat your class, please? 12th started or 12th completed? Just mention that for me, please. 12th passed or 12th completed? Great. Thank you so much. Hiral, 12th pass. Hardik, 12th pass. Great. Gungun, great. All right. 12th pass out. We can definitely help you. Class 11 students, few of them have also joined in. Class 12 started, completed. Great. Great. Absolutely fantastic. So, like, we have a mixed lot. Arpita, just mention class 12 started or passed. Just mention that for me. That's great. Any parents who've joined in here, if you could just quickly type in the chat for me. Any parents, just type a yes in the chat for me, please. Great, great. Thank you so much. Okay, I see few parents also here. Thank you so much. Welcome to the webinar. And any coaches or any of the educators, teachers, dear principals, any of the people from the education sector who've joined in here, just type a yes for me, please. Great, great, fantastic. So some of us are here as students to understand the CUET process in detail. Some of us are here as parents who want to support their children in terms of the admission process and what the new process of CUET is like. And some of us as trainers, educators, coaches who want to understand the process in detail. Fantastic. So what we'll do is for the younger kids, okay, 11th, 12th started, I will explain you in detail what the timeline is, but we still have a lot of time in terms of before giving the exam, what all should be the priority in preparation when it comes to the CUET exam. So we'll discuss about that in detail. For the students who've completed 12th, we will have a lot of in-depth discussion in terms of the result and post CUET, what are certain steps which are important. Even post CUET and during this time in June, right, till 30th June, you have a lot of things that you need to cover up in case you have not started yet. So does anyone know 12th completed? When is the result of CUET? 12th completed, anyone? This year, when are we expecting the result of CUET? Absolutely correct. 30th June. So I'm interacting with a very, very educative audience. 30th June. Absolutely. So as per the news, as per the current information, we are expecting the result to be out on 30th June. And let's see. Hopefully, I think it will be on 30th June itself. Now, deep diving into the CUET process. Before starting, can anyone introduce CUET to me in the chat, please? What is CUET? When you're using this term a lot, CUET, what is the full form? What does this mean? CUET. Tell me quickly. Absolutely correct. Common University Entrance Test. Absolutely. So there is some kind of entrance, some kind of exam which is happening. And what is the purpose of this exam? So all of us are going to be giving this exam after 12th, and it is going to be a common university entrance test. So common exam for many of the universities. Absolutely correct. So I'll just explain you in a little more in depth when we understand CUET. I'll share my screen as well. Hope the screen is visible to everyone. So when we talk about CUET, the first thing that should come to your mind is that it is some kind of exam which is happening and is common to a lot of universities. So it is common to all the central universities actually. So all the central universities of India are considering CUET as the exam for their admission after 12th to all kinds of degrees. So all kind of degrees, what do I mean by that? It could be a BA, it could be a BSc, BCom, management. For some of the universities, even BTech, law could also be there. So lots and lots of different kind of courses are included. And as you can see on the screen, you'll see a lot of top universities being there. So there's University of Delhi, University of Hyderabad, lots and lots of universities mentioned on the screen. And beyond this also, these are just some very few examples. There are approximately more than 60 universities that are accepting the score. And if I include a lot of private universities who started accepting CUET, the number goes up to 100 plus. So there are certain universities who will say that I will only take up CUET in my admission process. That is central universities. But there are certain universities which say that, okay, I can take up CUET score also, I can take up my own entrance score also, right? So that is where the private or other state or other various universities come up. They are also including the CUET score in their admission process. Now, to go a little more in depth as to what the process is like, let us understand in detail what the complete process looks like. So, there are three phases of the CUET pattern, so to say, the process. It is pre-CUET exam. So by pre-CUET, what do I mean? The people of 11th, 12th or higher grades who are planning to give the exam in 1 or 2 years. Then there is the CUET exam. So during April, your actual exam, April, May, when the exams are happening, that is your CUET exam schedule and how you got to manage that part. The third phase is post CUET. So for current grade 12, the post CUET comes up in terms of how we are going to plan the CUET post our results. So how you're going to go from the result of CUET to the actual admission to the university. There are a lot of steps in between all the three phases. Okay. So it is not as easy as it sounds that you prepare for the exam, you give the exam, and you get the admission. There are a lot of insider steps, lot of things that go on inside the process, which we'll discuss in detail today, that makes it more complicated, comprehensive. At the same time, why we are doing this webinar is the purpose of this webinar, dear participants, is we are not aware that it is complicated. Okay, so when we are not aware that it is complicated or a lot of inside steps are involved, now the challenge comes up suddenly. After the result, we really don't know what to do, and suddenly after the result, we're searching, oh my God, how should I get admission into Delhi University or BHU or any of the top universities? Oh my God, I missed the timeline for this form. I didn't know everything was online, nothing was offline. Because the idea was we were not being given that awareness. And sometimes there are so many links, so many varied information that it becomes very confusing for the students and parents. So at Mindler, we have a dedicated team of CUET experts, and we thought that we can help a lot of students to understand this process in detail, and we can even help you till you get the admission into top university. So our dream is you should not take the risk that due to basic missing out on the process, you lose out the admission to your dream university. So we are here, not to worry. Our team is here. So during the webinar and post the webinar, just feel free to reach out to us and we will be able to answer all your queries. Now, as we were discussing the numbers, just to quickly recap the numbers, like 14.9 lakh registered in CUET 2022. So around, let's say, 15 lakh students give the exam. 90 is the number of state and private universities considering CUET score. So again, 90 to 100, 100 plus, this goes in this range. 45,000 unique subject combination with 27 domain subjects and 33 languages. We'll discuss that in detail in a bit. And 6 phases in which CUET is conducted. We'll discuss that also, how the exam is conducted in detail today. 560 centers, so 547 in India and 13 worldwide. So students, these numbers change every year. So this is just a data to show you the breadth or the number of people who are giving the exam in India and even abroad. So a lot of 13 countries are conducting CUET to get admissions into Indian universities. So there's a huge competition, but at the same time, we have a lot of seats in the universities. For top universities, of course, the seats will be very less. So when we are aiming for the top universities, we got to start right now, right? Now, let's deep dive into each phase of the process. In between, if you have any questions, just feel free to type in the chat. So my team is here. They'll be able to, answer all your queries in detail. Now let's understand the registration process, okay, CUET, and what actually happens pre-CUET, okay. Now the focus that we're coming up is the pre-CUET part. So applications come up around March 2024. So I've mentioned March 2024 for this year. You can assume March 2025, March 2026. So it's during usually your board exams that the applications come up online. So what do we fill in that application beyond basic details? Can you tell me? Beyond your name, email ID, address, what are the important elements of the registration process? Yes, what are the documents required? We can say that. But beyond the documents, there's an interesting thing that a lot of us may not be aware of. Name, email, parents' email, correct? Okay. Address, beyond basic details, what all is required. Very important because a lot of students are not aware of that. Yes, can you answer? Anyone who's filled in? Absolutely. Subjects. Yes, correct. Subject combination is one most important element of the CUET process. The number of subjects are also limited. So each year they are changing the number of subjects. Once we started CUET, the government, when they started CUET, they set up to 10 subjects. Now it has come up to 6 subjects. So we'll see how it comes up next year, but there are certain subjects that you want to choose. Now, the subject combination is a little bit that you need to understand in detail. The second thing, what do you think is the second thing? One is correct, the subject combination. There is one more thing that we fill in the form. Preference list, okay. All right, university, yes, absolutely. We fill in the universities. And third one, along with universities, we fill in another thing in the form, in the registration form itself. So another thing that we fill is the courses. Courses. Center, no. So Samriddhi, center is not necessarily filled in. A good guess, but center is not necessarily filled in. So subjects, university, and courses. These three elements are different from usual forms of basic details that we fill in for a general application, right? So what is the difference? The number one part of subjects, let us understand that in detail. With subjects, one thing is you need to fill one language, all right? That language could be English, that language could be the regional language. So any of the specific language that you study in 11th and 12th. And the other subjects could be the current ones that you're studying in 12th or the ones that you want to give in CUET. The subject combination also is a little complicated in the sense that these subject combinations must be selected in terms of your target courses and target universities. Like I'll give you the example. Suppose if you're planning a commerce or a management course at University of Delhi, the subject combination will be different from a BCom and a management at IP University or BHU or any other central university, right? So for the same course that you're aiming, if you're aiming 5 top universities or 10 top universities, the subject combination to be filled in the CUET exam could be different for each of them. So that's one important criteria, that what subject combination should I fill that I do not miss out on my eligibility of the course itself, right? Like, for example, I gave in all my papers. I scored a very, very good percentile in each of them. But at the end, I got rejected because I was not eligible for that particular course, right? That becomes a huge challenge for a lot of students. So the number one thing that I'm pointing out is when you're selecting subjects after 10th, you got to be very careful at that part. And when you are studying subjects in 11th and 12th, just make sure that you are matching the eligibility for the course of the CUET exam. Secondly, courses and universities, dear students, you can fill according to the given choices, right? So there is a certain limit to courses and universities, but for the CUET part, they've kept it flexible. So in case you miss out on certain course or university, you can still apply after the result comes up in the specific university application. I'll explain you in detail in just 5 minutes. So you will be able to understand that, right? So that courses and universities are still something which is very important to decide, right? You cannot just randomly fill in the courses and universities. But at the same time, what I'm giving you as an information or an important piece of information is, if you miss out one or two, that's possible that you could cover that up later. But subjects is something that you cannot change at all. All right. I'm getting a lot of specific questions to your students. So if you want to know your subjects, which one you should fill, which courses and universities to fill, Tanishta, Ishika, if you could just share in the email ID and number. So if they, if they have specific questions into what kind of subjects they should fill in the application, so our coaches can help in that, right? Our CUET experts will be able to help you in terms of the specific subjects that you want to take further. So we've shared in the email ID shazia.k@mindler.com, and the number is 804-748-6486. So just make sure, dear participants, if you have any specific queries, like I saw a question wherein you've mentioned that, can you help me with BTech scores through CUET? Absolutely, Shivani, we can help you. But I'll need to know your current subjects and which universities you're aiming for, so we can connect. Once you reach out to us, we'll be able to connect. And Subhashri, very good question. If I scored good in CUET, but the percentage of boards is a bit lower, so what will happen? We'll discuss that. So how board exams and CUET differs, we'll just discuss that in a minute. It's a very, very important question. And for English honors, a lot of other courses which I'm seeing on the chat, just reach out to your students and our coaches will be able to help you understand this. Now, understanding the exam pattern. So this is the general exam pattern. Just to make you aware, there's like a 5 marks for every correct answer. There is -1 for every incorrect and 0 for not marking the answers. There's also option in the paper. So you do have certain options, that in the given subjects, you have certain options and you can for example, for general test, you have options of subjects. So it's not necessary to attempt all of the questions present in the question paper, but at the same time, just make sure that there is negative marking involved in the exam. Now, the twist in the pattern, as we were discussing, depending on your target university and courses, your subject choice for exam changes. Do you want to give the general test or not? It changes. So everyone doesn't need to give a general test. Like if I am student A and student B, my subjects for CUET could be completely different from student B. Maybe I'm not required to give general tests for any of my courses, but student B is required to give general tests for a lot of their courses. So the idea is, you should be very careful when you are actually filling the exam. How do you decide on that? You start 3 to 6 months, even in 11th, if you are thinking, you start a bit early. You can start 2 years prior also, because once you get clarity on subjects and eligibility, then dear participants, you will be able to have better clarity on how to prepare for the exam, right? If I know that I have maths exam coming up, I'll prepare accordingly for the 2 years or 1 year's time. If I really don't know which subjects will come up, I will actually prepare the wrong syllabus, right? So make sure that you are doing that part absolutely correctly. Now, the other thing, there's also a possibility to choose number of courses. So if you want to shift your course, that's possible. Like for example, if you're a science student but your interest in science is getting a little less, you want to explore other course options, that's possible. If you want to continue with the given subjects and you're very comfortable but you're still figuring out which course to choose, I like economics also, I'm liking psychology also, I'm liking a bit of management also, but which course should I actually aim for? We can help you there as well. Understanding your own strengths, right? Understanding what are my strengths and what are my career interest areas before deciding onto the courses would be very important. The second, clarity. I'll ask you quickly before clarifying this. Are class 12 marks a criteria for getting admission through CUET? What do you think? Are class 12 marks a criteria for getting admission into CUET? Yes, yes, no, no. Yes, yes, it's a criteria. Class 12 marks is a criteria. You need to score like a 50 percentage or a minimum percentage defined by the university in order to appear for the CUET exam. Are class 12th a criteria while getting admission into the university? Depends from universities to university. Okay. So, what do I mean by that? For some of the universities, they do not consider class 12 marks at all. They just say that you've passed in, you have, cleared in the basic criteria of giving the CUET exam. So, okay, great. Now we will give you the admission based on the CUET exam. For some of the other universities, they say, no, no, no. We'll consider the CUET score also. We'll consider the class 12 marks also. Maybe we'll take up an interview or a short kind of interaction with the student as well. So, actually, the importance of class 12 marks will differ from the kind of courses and universities that you're aiming for. So, this is an important information again. That a lot of students have assumed that 12th marks are not important right now. No, it's absolutely a myth. So I would like to clarify that 12th marks would still be important, and at least they would, even if you are aiming for the entrance exams, it would still be important to at least mention and get the basic eligibility ready. CUET, of course, is very competitive also. So it's not just CUET, but beyond this, a lot of other universities you could aim for where class 12 would become an important criteria when you are sitting for their admission process. How do they consider CUET board exams when CUET is around the time boards finish? Very good question, Subhashri. They actually, in your current application, pre-CUET, you cannot fill the class 12 marks. That's absolutely correct. But once you get the result of CUET, which we'll discuss in few minutes, you are asked to upload the class 12 mark sheet. So your admission is not final until unless you give the class 12 mark sheet to the university. Hope this clarifies your question. Suresh, are state boards allowed? Absolutely. All kinds of boards are allowed. State boards, Cambridge, IB, so Indian, International, ISC, all kind of boards are allowed in the exam. Again, the subjects would be based on what the university has defined. So even state boards are completely acceptable. There's no problem at all with any board, actually. There's no problem at all with any board. You just need to make sure that you are building in and you are clarifying and you are eligible to sit in for that course and university. So we'll be more than happy. Just reach out to us and we'll be able to help you in detail on your specific questions. Now, significant challenges during the exam. Now, during the exam, there's intense competition. As in the chat also, there are a lot of questions coming up. What's the percentile for general category? What's the criteria to get into top colleges? Like you're mentioning for BMS, Shahid Sukhdev, right? So the CUET is extremely competitive. So even if there is not a class 12 cutoff, which used to happen like a marks cutoff, still it's very popular. So we need to score well in the CUET exam. And there is a lot of intense competition which comes up. Tanishta, Ishika, I would just quickly request you to, keep on typing the answers in the chat also. So I think that would be really helpful for the students. Now, next, I'll quickly show what are the other aspects that we need to discuss in detail when it comes to actually giving the exam. So the other part is course allocation. Before coming on to that, let me also explain you what happens actually during the exam. Do you think CUET happens in a single day? Like we go for any exam, we take up the exam, it's for 2 or 3 hours, we come back. Does CUET happen like that? Does CUET happen in a single day? What do you take a guess? Take a guess. No, okay. No, depends on the subject. No, no, no. Yes, multiple days, multiple shifts. Absolutely correct. The CUET does not happen in a single day. It is not an exam that you go in the morning, you have a shift, and you come back. The CUET actually happens during, for a student, it could be like a 4 to 6 days. So it's like a week kind of exam structure that comes up. So it is somewhat randomly, I could say that today you could have like an English exam. Next day, you could have a general test. The third day, you could have economics and maths together. The fourth day, you could have a physics and chemistry together, like that. For each student, the exam would differ based on the subject combination that they have filled up. The other thing that I want to clarify, which changed this year, is there are two types of giving the exam. So there are two types of giving the exam. One is computer-based test. So there are certain subjects which are computer-based. So again, MCQ only, but it is computer-based. You have an online, you go to a center and you give the exam online on a computer-based system. The other thing that happens is they could be like a written form in the OMR kind of format. So both kind of formats are possible. For some subjects, they are computer based. For some subjects, they are OMR based. This is the new update that happened this year for the current 12th batch. So we'll see every year there is a certain change or certain updates in terms of the CUET by the actual authority. So we will each year need to see that what are the subjects which are based on the computer-based test, what are the subjects which are on a like a written OMR kind of format. Subhashri, yes, absolutely. The applications of CUET are completely online, and there is a portal called Samarth Portal. So, Samarth Portal is the one where you actually fill in the specific information about CUET. And if you do not have the link, we can share the link with you. But once you go to the link, there is huge amount of information. What we do as a team is we give you the information which is relevant to you, which you will be able to understand in your context and greater detail. So, of course, you can visit the official website. I would highly encourage you, but make sure that you're taking a help of a CUET expert and you're not taking a risk in terms of your career when you are giving this exam. Now, the another thing is during the exam, just make sure that you have your documentation correctly. There have been a lot of last minute changes in terms of admit cards or centers. So this is also another additional challenge, operational challenge that would come up in giving the CUET exam. Another thing, now let's deep dive what actually happens when you are giving the exam. Students may not get their first choice and they might be might have to settle for a less preferred option. We'll discuss that in just a minute. This is how the CUET part comes up once you are getting the result in hand. Lack of backups and changing interests. So realizing that their interest or career goals are different and then they try to change it at the last minute. This could create a lot of confusions because again, you've not filled in these subjects and this could create a challenge for us. Lack of understanding of in terms of guidance. So you are, as students are not aware that these are the additional challenges that are coming up. Now, post CUET. Post CUET, why I want to discuss this in a lot of depth today, dear students and parents, is because right now we are assuming that I will get the admission once I get the result on 30th June. But that's not true. That's actually not true. That's not how the process happens. Like, I'll put in a very controversial statement, so to sort, but even if you score a 99 percentile in CUET, you will not get admission into any university. Why? Can anyone answer that? Like, why is it that I score a 98, 99, any kind of percentile in CUET, I will not get the admission into any university? Because there's one process that a lot of us are not aware of. What is that process? Absolutely, absolutely. So I think few of us, one or two of us have answered correctly. We need to register for the specific university portals, right? It is not possible that you score very well in CUET and you do not register for the specific university portal and you get the admission. That's not possible at all. So what I'm saying is, just to clarify, I'll type in the chat, it's kind of a two-step process. Okay. So the first step is you fill in the CUET. You fill in the CUET application that we discussed just a few minutes ago. That's on the official CUET website, Samarth portal. That is the first step. The second step is you fill in the specific university application. That yes, I've given CUET. This is my detail. These are my CUET enrollment number or specific information, and then university picks up. Now, the another interesting thing I would like to point out here, when does this application open? Like, for example, I'm filling the CUET application in March. I'm giving my exam in after boards, right? So let's say April, May. May could be one thing. When does the university application open? When does the university application open? June, July. Okay. Does the university application open before the result or after the result of CUET? A lot of us may not be aware of this. Yes, a lot of us are writing after CUET result. I'm sorry, this is incorrect. Most of the universities, I wouldn't say all, but most of the universities, specifically top universities, open their portal before the CUET result comes out. So dear class 12 students who are waiting that, after 30th June, I'll fill in the specific university applications. I'm sorry, you got to fill right now. And for some of the universities, I apologize, but you missed the deadline already. So if you've not filled in, you'll not get the admission now for this year. It's not possible at all. So for the students who are preparing next year, this is an important information that I'm assuming that, okay, I'll get the result, then I'll fill the university application, or the university will call me up, or maybe there'll be a process through the CUET common portal only. But it is not like that. The university expects you that you will take care of that part. And that is where I want to highlight that how do you submit the score to the specific website? How do you understand which are the universities that I should fill in application for? We can help you there. We can help you there because usually it happens that for some of the universities, the timeline could be like very early. For some of the universities, the timeline could be June. For some of them, it could be June end or July. But I would request you dearly that do not miss out on the timeline. Because if you're waiting, you're just waiting, you filled in the application, you've given the CUET exam, and now you're just waiting that the result will come and then I'll start taking steps. That would be too late. That would be too late. You'll need to start now. You'll need to start today itself. I would say for the students who've actually given CUET this year, start today, start right now. It is an essential step that you cannot afford to miss if you are aiming for a top university or a top course. Now, another thing, how is the CUET post-step process like? So just to give you an in-depth example, the application process of every university is a little different. And what they expect you is that there are certain phases, different phases. There is the result, is the result valid for next year? I'll come to that, but just to complete my example, there are certain phases in which the university post CUET admission happens. Okay, so what do I mean by that is, in June, before the result, you fill in the applications for the university showing interest that yes, I interested to apply to the university. I'm interested. These are my basic details. Okay. Now, once you get the result on 30th June, what will happen? What will happen is after the result, there is another step that comes up in the university application process. What is that step like? Now the university will ask you, fill in your preference. So based on your result, whatever result you got in CUET, you fill in your preference of courses and colleges that you want to choose in the university. Okay. It combination could be something like uh, a course like English honors with a college name of the university, a course of English honors with another college name of the university, then psychology honors with another college of the university, BCom honors with another college of the university. So actually, whichever result you get, however percentile marks you are scoring in the CUET exam, ultimately, from the admission point of view, you will need to fill in something called as your preference list. Now, this list is like a determiner or like the major part where you get the admission or not. So you do not have a specific cutoff for most of the universities. And ideally, you fill in the preference, and the next thing that comes up is either you get one of your preference or you are you do not get, and then you're trying to get it in the further rounds of admission. Okay. So this is another thing. Now, why I'm clarifying is a lot of students, they just fill in the top colleges. 1, 2, 3, 4. I know this name, like I was reading Shahid Sukhdev and SRCC and the top names that we know, we start to fill in the top names. My percentile is not as high to get into the top ones, but my preference is higher. So someone who's scoring less, a little less in the CUET percentile, but are smartly filling their preferences. They are smarter in filling their courses and universities. They would have a higher chance of getting admission than someone who has a high marks, but they have filled in wrong preferences. That's the reality. That's what happened last year also. And I will not be surprised if it becomes chaotic after CUET result, because this is the actual reality. Your preference is an important criteria. How do you decide your preference? I would say seek guidance. Seek guidance from us, seek guidance from the other CUET experts. Do not fill this randomly. It is a major part of your admission. Do not take it lightly that, okay, I'll fill whichever is the top college of that university, or I'll fill my nearest colleges in terms of location, my near distance colleges. This is not a criteria to take it forward, right? Even if you are taking up the marks, you're getting highest marks, you should be very smart in filling what are the courses and university preferences that you want to take further. Your list is the main part that gets you into that specific university. So these are very important points that I want to highlight in this webinar, dear students and parents, is that the list needs an expertise. So do not take it randomly. Try to build a list on your own, but get it rechecked from an expert. Reach out to people, reach out to us. Because if you're filling it randomly, it could cost you your admission in terms of your top university and the top college that you're aiming for at that particular universities. Aprajita, very good question. How many preferences can be filled up? For each university, the number of preference has a limit. Like for Delhi University, there'll be a limit. For BHU, there'll be a limit. For University of Hyderabad, there'll be a limit. So for each university, once you start after the result, they will show you the combination, and there'll be a limit mentioned in the end of your form, online form. All right. And if you want to know any specific limits to the universities, we can help you with that. So what are certain solutions? How do we take care of that? Seek early guidance. Seek early guidance from CUET experts. Then have an educational pathway guidance in terms of how to plan your admission process. Stay updated on the timelines. Because if you're scoring very well also, I do not sincerely want to miss you out from the timelines part, and just because of few timelines you couldn't get the admission. So just don't worry. We can support you with the timelines part as well, and goal setting and planning. The most important thing, backup options. CUET is one of the top options. 15 lakh students are giving it. Where are my backups? Where are other universities where I can get the admission, but there is not a CUET criteria? Maybe I can give the university admission entrance, right? I can secure my admission into some place and shift it later, right? Backup is very essential, students. We cannot risk missing out on backups. So all those of 11th, 12th, and the ones who've completed 12th, backups is a crucial step, dear students. So do not miss out on that. Make sure that you are having some backups in your kitty when you are going through the admission process. When we are looking at a 15 lakh number and very few lakh seats, we need to have backups in place for us, right? Hopefully, yes, we'll get the admission, but at the same time, we cannot be overconfident and feel that, okay, if I don't get it, it will cost an year to us, right? So we need to make sure that we have backups in place. And if you need more clarity that what backup should I plan, how do I take it forward when I'm not really aware of the backups, which are the good ones to keep as backups in India or abroad or any other country that you're aiming for, just reach out to us. We'll be able to help you. Anukara, very good question. What time do you consider early for seeking guidance exam? I would say as early as possible. But yes, of course, in a younger grade, if I'm only specifically talking about CUET, we could start like a 2 to 3 years before also. That would be a good timeline. If I talk about career guidance, then we could start from like a 8th, 9th grade as well. So for career guidance in general, we can start early. And for seeking CUET guidance, we can at least start a year to 2 year before, even 3 years before, so that your subjects are clear. So after 10th, when you're choosing subjects, you're smart enough to choose the subjects if CUET is your main admission criteria that you're aiming for. I'm seeing a lot of questions in terms of categories. Yes, a lot of categories are acceptable. There are certain aspects of documents which become essential, and dates of documents also. So our team can help you in giving you that awareness that what kind of documents do you need, what kind of timelines are there for those documents. So that is something that you can seek out our help with as well. So if you are belonging to some category and you're seeking out admission in the Indian universities, we'll be able to help you with that. We'll be able to give you more clarity on how you can utilize that category for your admission process. All right. Thank you. Thank you so much, dear participants. I'll quickly take a few more questions and then we'll end the session. How many questions are there in CUET? Does it depend on the stream you're picking? So yes, depending on the subjects, each subject will have certain amount of questions. So for CUET, the number of questions could be different for each student, right? For some, of course, there'll be a general pattern, but yes, questions could be a little different depending on the subjects that you pick. Why general test can be given as optionally? Is it compulsory to give it? No, general test is not compulsory. Again, it would depend on the course and university that you're aiming for. So that's absolutely an essential question. You need guidance that do I need to give general test or not? Do I need to give these subjects test or not? So we can help you there. But for the colleges, for your BMS, BBA that you're aiming for, we can absolutely help you with that. For Delhi University, if you're aiming for economics without maths, yes, some of the universities do allow you to take economics without maths. What are the specific universities? We can help you with that. So just reach out. We'll be able to help you with both the questions. We have our experts, so we can create a list for you in terms of where all can you apply in the given subject combination that you have. All right. All right. Thank you. Thank you so much. What's the advantage of giving general test? It will depend on your course. For some of the courses, it is compulsory. For some of the courses, it is not required. Okay. How do I prepare for CUET while studying at home? Very good question. Absolutely, you can prepare for CUET while you're studying at home. And with CUET, the most important part is just make sure that you are revising your class 12 syllabus. You are doing sample papers and you are asking the class 12th MCQ format of questions on the exam that you're planning to give. So you can absolutely prepare on your own as well. All right. Pranav, yes, if you've given CUET this year, you need to apply to each individual university and you'll need to fill in the application form for each of the universities and they separately. You'll have to fill it separately. It will not get directly accepted from the CUET portal. You'll have to fill in the applications form separately. Thank you. Thank you so much, everyone. Just reach out. We'll be able to help you throughout. So just make sure that you're reaching out to us. We'll be able to help you in all the queries that you mentioned. Thank you. Thank you so much. Wonderful audience. Great interaction. Lot of the questions I could see that a lot of one or two participants were able to answer some of the tough questions also. So that's amazing. And Tanishta, Ishika, if you could just share the email ID and number once again, because a few of the students are asking the email ID. So Samriddhi will just share the email ID. Yes.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you to all the participants. And we definitely had so many questions in the Q&A section as well. And I was constantly seeing that our chat box was also filled with different questions. And I hope that we answered all your questions. And for any other help, for any other clarification of doubts and everything, we have already shared our email ID. Please reach out to us. And thank you so much, Somya ma'am, for taking this session for us. I hope that the participants, the parents, the coaches, they definitely have got some clarity regarding CUET. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thanks a lot, dear participants. I'm reading a lot of wonderful messages. Thank you so much. And I hope this was informative and helpful for you. And we're all here to support you. So we'll be more than happy that all of you get into your dream university. Like I've studied at Delhi University. It was my dream. So I wish each one of you gets your dream college and university.